US President Joe Biden has excluded two of his NATO allies, Turkey and Hungary, from the list of invitees to the American Summit for Democracy. Foreign Policy magazine reported, citing three US officials, that approximately 120 countries were invited to the summit, which the US considers one of its showpiece initiatives aimed at strengthening democracies worldwide and halting the rise of autocracy. The exclusion of Ankara and Budapest reflects growing US concerns about the level of democratic backsliding in Turkey and Hungary, despite Washington's reliance on both countries in supporting the West's strategy against Russia. Such disregard is likely to further exacerbate tensions between Washington and the two countries, as well as increase the distance between them and other NATO members. Former US President Donald Trump and his team are seeking ways to take revenge against Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg for his investigation against Trump. Rolling Stone reported, citing two sources familiar with the matter and two individuals close to Trump. For several months, Trump and his political advisors have outlined legal strategies for how they can use the Department of Justice to prosecute prosecutors who have angered Trump in recent years. Trump's advisors have said that in the event of his return to the White House, the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division could initiate an investigation against Bragg. The prosecutor could be accused of politically motivated actions against Trump and racist actions. Trump regularly calls the African-American Bragg a racist, usually without further explanation. Most countries are against. After the beginning of the Ukrainian crisis, the USA, the United Kingdom, the EU, and their allies launched the most comprehensive and harsh economic attack on a sovereign country, Russia, in modern history. Forbes writes, "These rights. The Western alliance seized half of Russia's foreign exchange reserves, blocked the access of its key banks to the international settlement system SWIFT, and imposed individual sanctions on a number of Russians. As a result, the world split into two blocks, those who support Western sanctions against Russia and those who do not. The majority of the world's countries, not part of the narrow Western alliance, belong to the latter bloc. Brazil, China, India, and South Africa, together with all developing countries, are interested in access to fuel, food, and fertilizers offered by Russia. In addition, for sovereign nations, the order to take someone's side is an insult," Forbes emphasizes. This was vividly demonstrated during US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's August tour of Africa. During a joint press briefing with Blinken, South African Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor spoke out against the patronizing bullying coming from the West. US President Joe Biden and his Vice President Kamala Harris have good working relations, but sources in the Democratic Party say that the president is disappointed with some of her work. Biden is also convinced that neither Harris nor any other Democratic candidate will be able to defeat former President Donald Trump if he becomes the Republican candidate, which has influenced Biden's plans to run again. Harris' approval rating is 39% compared to Biden's 42.3%. Reuters notes that Harris will remain in tandem with Biden in the 2024 elections, despite low ratings, inability to attract the Washington establishment, and concerns from Democratic colleagues about her performance. As a result, Harris will be in a high-pressure situation as Biden, who is now 80 years old, is moving towards an unprecedented nomination for a second term at such an advanced age. If he wins, becomes ill, and is unable to perform his duties, Harris will become president. This reality will hang over their bid for re-election in 2024. US authorities have begun checks against Swiss banks Credit Suisse and UBS, Bloomberg reports, citing sources familiar with the matter. The US Justice Department intends to find out whether the banks help Russian oligarchs evade sanctions. According to agency sources, Swiss banks were included in a recent wave of subpoenas sent by the US government. Information requests were sent even before the crisis that engulfed Credit Suisse and led to the acquisition of UBS, Bloomberg notes. In the US, it is believed that in recent years, banks have not sufficiently screened the Russians targeted by sanctions. Banks face fines for violating American restrictions.